Once upon a time, there was a small village named Elona. It was a quiet place where everyone knew each other. The people lived simple lives, and traditions were very important. Girls were raised to be modest and respectful, and families worked hard to protect their daughters' honor. But one day, something changed. A group of strangers came to the village. They were rich and spoke of a better life outside the village. They told the women stories of freedom, money, and independence. Some women became curious. Life in Elona was hard, and many of them wanted more than what the village could offer. The strangers offered the women jobs in the city. They promised that these jobs would bring wealth and happiness. At first, only a few women left. They returned months later, dressed in fine clothes and carrying gifts for their families. They spoke of how much money they had earned and how they could now live without worry. Seeing this, more women became interested. They felt trapped by the traditional ways of the village. Some wanted to escape their struggles, while others were simply curious about the city life. Slowly, one by one, more women decided to leave. In the city, the women realized the jobs were not what they had imagined. They were asked to work in clubs and entertain men. Some of them were hesitant, but the money was good. Over time, they became used to this new life. Many of them even began to enjoy the freedom they now had, even though it came with challenges. Back in the village, the men and families began to notice the absence of women. The village became quiet and lonely. The men tried to convince some of the women to return, but they refused. They said the village had nothing to offer them anymore. With most of the women gone, the village started to fall apart. Families could no longer continue their traditions. The men who remained grew angry and confused. They didn't understand why the women had chosen this path. Some blamed the strangers, while others blamed the village for not giving the women better opportunities. The elders tried to hold meetings to find a solution, but it was too late. The women had tasted a different life, and they didn't want to return to the old ways. The village's traditions, once so strong, began to fade away. Years passed, and the village became a shadow of its former self. Some of the women sent money back to their families, but they never returned. The men eventually had to leave as well, moving to the city to find work or start new lives. Elona became an abandoned place, a reminder of how quickly things can change when people seek something better. The story of the village spread to other places, becoming a lesson for communities to adapt and grow, or risk being left behind.